Martin Pellew from President, British Chamber of Commerce. Very welcome to National Manufacturing Debate.
Thank you.
We all enjoyed your keynote speech this morning, and I'm here to elaborate some of the key things we discussed in the morning keynote sessions.
Right.
Now, let me start with this first issue, which actually was mentioned in your talk. It's about regulations. Are we being, again, politically correct and trying to put more regulation on our companies when our competitors are not doing that? Are we unfairly putting burden on our business?
I think in the current climate, we don't have the luxury in terms of time curing the deficit or the time in terms of opening up new world markets to help this country to worry so much about regulation. So I think we are putting ourselves at a disadvantage, particularly when we take legislation and we take regulations from Europe, which have very little bearing here. I think back in the last 12 months, we've had agency workers agreements, which very, very definitely are adverse, giving agency workers after 12 weeks the same rights to holidays and entitlement as full-time staff is a detriment to any business. For example, I've worked in the dock industry and in ports, or in the supermarket industry, where you have a lot of seasonal workers. One of the ways around putting on an unnecessary overhead is to use agency labour. A second example would be one where we're successfully fighting against the legislation on the ergonomics directive. This is changing the way we sit at our work and how we procure product. That would put an unnecessary cost into our economy. We've got things like paternity leave. These are new regulations that are coming in and actually adding significantly to the costs of doing business. Whereas what we should be trying to do is make sure that the supply chain is enhanced by being very efficient and very effective. We should be doing far more to help exports in particular, make British manufacturers and manufacturing much more competitive. And we should concentrate on those things rather than the niceties of extra legislative costs coming in.
Thank you. And today we are talking about supply chain, how manufacturing supply chain could actually support growth or enhance growth.
Yes.
Now, on that point, coming on from regulation, that we need to actually help our supply chain with less regulations in many ways, but also there was discussion around picking winners. Now, government has tried, DTI in the past has tried to help SMEs, now TSB is trying to help SMEs. What do you see about picking winners in SME areas? Is that the right strategy, or there is some kind of fallout we could expect if we pick winners in SMEs?
Well, I think undoubtedly the marketplace will successfully pick winners. Mm-hmm. If you develop a better mousetrap or whatever your product may be, and then you can get it to market using publicity, public relations, advertising, you can get a customer base, then winners will succeed. So the issue here is, where do you put your seed corn? Where do you put your investment opportunity? Where do you help particular sectors of business? And so, for example, picking winners, it's a no-brainer that you should pick Brazil, Russia, India, China, the BRICS, as they call them, those export markets. Most businesses in this country do not need to worry about Macedonia, Lithuania, Bulgaria by comparison. And what we've got to do is address one of the statistics I was talking about, the fact that we export more product to Belgium than we do to China, and yet there's a vastly different population. So picking winners, for example, with the UKTI, those countries where we need to succeed, where we're up against French nuclear energy resources, Japanese transport manufacturers and engineers, where we're up against German automotive companies, and supporting industries where the British car industry, in particular supply chain, right from the originating second tier, first tier, right through to car manufacturing, we're doing very, very well in this country. So that's a winner. We should do more to help that. So in principle, I think the marketplace solves it, but the government and government departments would be wise to spread their money into the best opportunities rather than just having a plethora of mediocrity.
Thank you. My final question to you, one of the ambition that was projected this morning is actually helping UK manufacturing to go up to 20% of GDP, which we were a few years ago. How can we regain that growth in manufacturing?
Right, well, I'm a planner by nature. Planning in supply chains is all about long-term issues. I've talked about the need for the proper infrastructure. I think if we have a desirable goal, whether it be a 20% or just getting back to 15%, we can then start saying, well, that's the goal. What are the stepping stones to getting there? I do think we need, for example, a much more favourable tax treatment to organisations that take risk. I was talking here to one of the delegates as a business with 64 people in the plastics area. They're doing product substitution for a currently imported Chinese product. They're manufacturing in this country. They're selling a plastic injection moulded material to Sainsbury's ultimately. Those sorts of people need rewarding. Those need to be part of our targeting. The company knows what to do, but what they should be getting is some help with the capital investment in the plant, the injection moulding and the tooling, but they should get an opportunity to go exporting. Because when I talk to this company, at the moment, they're doing no exports. There's 64 people based in Kent. They need an incentive to create a product which is better than a Chinese import today, which is what it is, and then find overseas markets they should go to. I don't know, if it's good enough for Sainsbury's here, why not Carrefour in France, or Migros in Switzerland, or out to Mercadona in Spain. You know, get the same product out into other markets, and we need to incentivise that. And if we have the target and we get the stepping stones to how to get there, I don't know whether 20% is possible, but if you don't set that as the goal, you've definitely got no chance.
Right. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And thanks for coming, and we look forward to hear more from you in the coming months and years.
Okay, that's a pleasure.
That's
great.
Thank you.